All right, hello. Welcome in, everyone. Okay, sorry about the extended hold there getting started. Just had a few housekeeping things I had to take care of before we got started, but here we are. It is another wonderful Sunday, and I hope your spring is springing if you are in this hemisphere, and if not, I hope you're having a wonderful fall in the other hemisphere. But today we are playing a new game by the makers of a game I covered a little while ago called Le Fleur. That game and this game are made by the same design team and publisher Duxomnium Games. Not the easiest name to say off the top of my head, but this is Endearment. Endearment is set in the Regency era of Great Britain. So this is, think Jane Austen or Bridgerton, if you're so inclined. As I called it in my stream go live message, legally distinct Regency era romance, right? Because that's what this game. This game is taking from all of the great works of literature from that time period that are in that romance era, like Pride and Prejudice and Lady Susan and so many. There's so many that are kind of factored in. In fact, the game goes to pretty good lengths to talk about exactly where they're pulling their material from, which I think is great. But in this game, we are playing the role of like romantic characters that really fall in love with the stories and want to go out and have a romantic encounter of their own, live their life as they have been reading it in literature, so to speak. So we are entering society, and we are visiting different settings around England, and having conversations with various characters that we find in those settings. And then eventually we're looking to make a love match as we ourselves are getting more comfortable in our own skin and in developing who we are in society and developing our own social lives. We are getting better and better. We are gaining better traits. There are 6 core traits in this game that we will be leveling up throughout the play. And those, depending on where we focus our time and our energy to build those traits, we will make ourselves more attractive to specific characters that are in that character deck. And we could potentially make a perfect love match and earn extra endearment, which in this game are points. So we're going to be gaining endearment points along the way. And we're going to be doing that by spending persuasion. So we're going to be going to the Motiste, for example. We're going to be visiting locations in town, and the act of doing that will gain us more persuasion, or there's a really persuasion cards mechanically, and we'll spend those cards to get various advantages throughout the game, and those will depend on the specific kind of flavor text that are on each of those persuasion cards. But at the end of the day, 1 persuasion card equals 1 persuasion. Unless the flavor text gives you additional bonuses. But that's the kind of mechanical, thematic integration that I look for very heavily in games. I'm looking for things that make a lot of sense mechanically and thematically at the same time, because the theme helps reinforce the mechanics. So for me, it really has to make sense. So we are going to be earning endearment points by spending persuasion and going out, visiting settings, and interacting with characters that we see at those settings. And we have various ways to influence all of those things, as one did actually in British society at that time. So that's essentially the core of it. The game is actually, each round in this game is actually called a chapter, because again, she's a very romantic character that we are playing, and we are trying to write our own story, our own narrative. So we are literally looking at each chapter of our own story as we go forward. The game ends when one player, in this case me or the AI opponent that I'm playing against, gets married. So once one of us gets married, so it's a race to get married, basically. And once you get married, that round ends, and then the end of game is triggered. So that's essentially the idea. So what we are doing in every round of the game is we are going to be first visiting town, gaining a little bit of persuasion, and then doing some town actions, basically getting ready for the events of the day, if you will. And then we are going to go and visit these locations around the board. So the settings are these big postcards that you see here, beautiful artwork all the way around. And I'll zoom in on all of this as we go. But this is kind of, the settings are here. And then within each setting are these little blocks of characters. And right now, when the game starts, there's only one character per location. The number of locations and the number of characters at each location at the start of the game is all player count dependent. So for a 2-player game, there are 3 settings and 1 character per setting. Those numbers and ratios change and scale as the player count scales. So what do we have around the top of the board here? We have the character deck, and it's a discard pile. That's up here in the upper left. We have the modiste, or the dress shop, and that's here. This is the dress deck and the dress discard. And then we have the tea garden and its discard deck. And then finally we have plot cards and its discard deck. And in fact, I've set up everything here except the plot, so I'll go ahead and do that now. Because at the beginning of every round, we draw one plot card and we read it and we decide how that's going to influence the round. So before I read that, let me also take you around the table a little bit in more detail. Well, first and foremost, what I think I'll do is I will start in this section here. This is kind of at the bottom of this view are both player boards. I am on the left, my character's on the left, and the AI opponent is on the right. And I am playing Jane Bennett from Pride and Prejudice. And Jane has 3 traits that she starts with at level 1. And every other trait, there's 6 traits, but 3 of which I start at level 1, and the other 3 I'm at 0. I don't have much experience doing those at all. So I have a slight getting started advantage in these 3 traits. This, I believe, and there's one thing that I will talk about now, and I'll continue to talk about it, I'm sure, as the game goes on, but that's the value of a good player aid. Unfortunately, the 6 traits were not included on the player aid, so I'm gonna have to refer to the rule book more than I want to as I get going here. But the pinkish red here with this lady silhouette on it is charm. And then this blue book is wit, and the green kind of garden statue here, garden decoration, is honor. So we have charm, wit, and honor. Those are the 3 that I am strongest in at the start. I am Jane Bennett from Pride and Prejudice. The quote from Jane is, "Do anything rather than marry without affection." And if I manage to marry my literary hero, so in Pride and Prejudice, the target of affection and the one that everybody wants to get married to, I don't know the story very well, but is Mr. Bingley. Mr. Bingley is Jane Bennett's, at least, hero. And so if I can find Mr. Bingley, which it's very possible that Charles Bingley right here may be, and in fact, I believe is, my intended love match. That would be like the perfect possible love match. If I can marry this particular gentleman before the end of the game, then I will earn the most endearment. So anyway, so that's Jane Bennett. I will earn two additional endearment if I manage to marry specifically him. I don't have to, and I can certainly marry other people. I'll just get even more if I manage to do that. So what happens though? What are these traits all about? Well, for example, for Jane, if I have 3 or more charm, if I'm at level 3 charm or higher, I can choose to discard 1 dress. Dresses are cards in my hand. I can choose to discard one dress and draw one dress each time you gain one charm. So, in other words, the better I get at charm, the more charming I become, the more flexibility I will have in changing up my dress throughout the game. And the reason why matters is because you want to make sure you're properly adorned, you're properly dressed for the occasion, right? And so if I am going over here to, you can kind of see that, a Buckingham House staircase, this is a scene, this is a setting, I would want a dress that matches this kind of yellowish house symbol. If, on the other hand, I'm going to visit the Queen's Library, I might want to have a dress that matches the wit symbol here. By the way, this yellow house symbol is wealth. So I might want a wealthy dress on, or I might want a slightly witty dress on, or a dress that matches the setting, if you will. And if I do that, if I'm perfectly dressed for the occasion, then I'll earn even more endearment. So there you go. The whole idea is we're going to be trying to gain endearment as much as we can throughout the game. And to do that, we want to make sure that we are following all social practices, being well-dressed for the occasions. And that means that we're going to want in our hand to have an assortment of different dress cards. And you'll see in my hand that I have some dress cards. We'll focus on these two for the moment. That are different colors. So this is a wealth dress, and this is a honor dress. And they have different numbers on them. This has a 4 and this has a 5. And that's because, let's say my opponent is going after the same character as me. She wants to come visit Mr. Bingley as well. If she does that, and I do that on the same turn in the same round, then we have a rivalry on our hands. And it's about who's dressed better than the other. So if I play because this is the library, maybe I'll do the better example over here, and I'll go like this direction, right? So let's look at the King's Gallery. So let's say we were both going to visit Henry Crawford here. I would want to play my green dress because it matches the setting that we're in, the King's Gallery, right? And if I do that, great. But if she comes here as well and does the same thing, if she's playing a better card than me, if she's playing a 6 dress of the same suit, if you will, then she's going to win, and she'll be able to visit Mr. Crawford here before me. So not only do I want to be dressed well, but I want to be better dressed than her if I can. Thematic integration at its finest. So it's not the end of the world if you don't get your way, but you just have better opportunity to get at the person that you want to get at that round. If you do, you don't even have to play a dress. If you don't want to, you can just show up and whatever it is you're wearing is fine. You just won't get additional bonuses to help you win rivalries, right? So let's say you've leveled up that trait. You don't need the extra help. Your trait is super high already, and you're just going to bank on that trait being enough. If, on the other hand, your trait is low and you play this 5, let's say, for the sake of argument, that I had leveled up honor, which is this trait, this green trait. Let's say I've leveled up honor quite a bit. I would play 5, and then I would add my current trait value to that 5. So I would play a 5. Let's say I was at 3 on honor. That would make this an effective 8. So she would have to beat an effective 8 between the combination of the cards she plays and her value for honor. So there you go. That's kind of what we are doing throughout the game. And then what happens then is we visit the settings, we visit with the people, and then anyone we don't visit kind of gets discarded at the end of the round. But anyone we do visit gets shuffled in with new cards and then dealt back out. So those characters stick around. In other words, those are the characters in our stories. So if we are choosing to spend our time with some of these characters, those are the characters we want to see more of throughout the rest of our story. They may not be the ones we marry, but we get to choose the characters that we see again and again throughout our story, throughout the game we are playing this game. More people will be added in on top of that, but at a minimum, that's the situation. So So we're going to be choosing to essentially keep them around by spending our time with them. And of course, when you visit locations and when you talk to these characters, you get more benefits. So all of the things we do throughout the game will earn us something. So those are the choices we have to make. Which settings do we want to visit and when? And which characters do we want to visit and when? Do we want to do that? Do we want to risk seeing somebody later and worrying about the other player possibly getting access to that person before me? Or do I not care about that person and I want to focus on this other person instead? So, yeah. Okay, so I have my starting hand of 4 dress cards. The hand limit on dress cards specifically is 5. So you start pretty close to your hand limit, but not at hand limit. And the persuasion cards, again, those are cards that let you get stuff done, let you take certain actions. There's no hand limit on persuasion cards. Only on dress cards do I have a hand limit. Let's see. What else is worth talking about now? I don't think there's much else to talk about. I think I've pretty much covered the details. So I think let's go ahead and read our first plot. And we'll get into the details. If there's any questions, as usual, sound them out in chat. I will pause and answer to the best of my ability. Which again, I'm just playing this game for the very first time, so I have not seen these. I am not an expert. I may have to refer to the rulebook and look up answers, and I am not afraid to do that. So that means you may see some pausing here and there while we get at the answers, but that is the point. So at least that's the point of my streams, is so that we all learn this game together. And I think in so doing, just to be clear, I think the act of me doing that helps you to understand what your experience is going to be like if you choose to play this game and try to learn this game for the first time. Is the rule book well laid out? Am I able to find my answers? Is the explanation clear and unambiguous? Are there proper player aids that help you get up to speed or not? Right? So if I'm sitting there with my nose in the book for 5 minutes per question that I have or you have, that's a sign that perhaps the rule book isn't laid out. Either that or I'm just not really good at reading them. But either way, I've done this enough where I'm pretty good at skimming a rule book and knowing where the answers are to things. So hopefully that will give you some idea. Anyway, let's get started. Let's play the first round of Endearment. So our first plot card in chapter 1, our first round, is Dashing Officers. Dashing Officers reads, we'll go back to here, I think, for now. Yeah, the whole view. A modest outing into town takes a decidedly more interesting turn as you encounter a group of officers whose eligibility is rivaled only by their awareness of it. Each player draws 1 persuasion each time they win a rivalry this round. Ooh. All right, so we'll put our plot card out here. That's our currently active plot point for this chapter of our story. Okay, so as is usual for me, I'm going to end up spending more time in the first round as I'm stepping through each step to make sure I'm not missing a trick or missing a rule. So I have drawn my plot cards. We have drawn our settings cards. We have drawn our character cards. Now it is time to go to town. In the solo game, I always go first, and the solo opponent always goes second. However, the solo opponent, it breaks ties. So if there's a tie, they're going to win it. So be keeping that in mind. It's also very simple. The simple version of the AI is that they just gain persuasion cards throughout the game for most everything. And I think it's for every 4 persuasion cards they have, they earn an endearment point at the end of the game. So it's very simple, should be low in maintenance and low impact, but we'll see how it goes. So we're going to town. So that means I take my pawn off my player board and I go to town. And that's signified by putting my pawn icon on this town space up here. And underneath here, and I don't have it on like a consolidated view, but you can get a view here. It says, going to the Modiste, 1 persuasion, sending an invitation. These are all town actions. Sending an invitation, 1 persuasion, right? And then over here on the other side, it says a calling card costs 3 persuasion, or sending correspondence costs 5 persuasion. Calling cards and correspondence align to the trying to get the person, like You can't really see that in this view. But in this view here, my preferred love match, Mr. Charles Bingley, if I'm hunting for Mr. Bingley, I can send a calling card to pull Mr. Bingley out of the discard pile and place him in a setting of my choosing. If I haven't ever seen my betrothed, my intended, anywhere yet throughout the game, I can instead spend 5 persuasion to send correspondence to them, which lets me dig through the deck to find them and then put them out. So you're never in a situation in this game where your perfect love match is inaccessible to you. It's just a strategic decision one way or the other. As it stands, Bingley being mine, I'm going to have to later spend a calling card to go digging in the discard, because I'm not currently eligible for marriage. My traits aren't high enough yet to qualify me for marrying Mr. Charles Bingley here, but later I will be. So knowing that Mr. Charles Bingley is here, I'm going to try to keep him around throughout the game and then go dig after him in the discard pile if necessary, to ensure that he is available so I can make my proposal, get married, and win the game. That's the goal. So anyway, I'm in town, and our heroines must prepare for the engagements of the day with a trip to town. Starting with the first player, each player in clockwise order places their pawn in the town space, draws 1 persuasion card from the tea house, which is also called tea garden on the board. Interesting. Then performs any desired town actions. So my first persuasion card of the game is this lovely flower, and it says 1 persuasion, and then underneath it says, if I spend this persuasion card on correspondence, it counts as 2 persuasion instead. I'm not in a position to, nor will I think I need to spend it on correspondence. So for all intents and purposes, my very first persuasion card is just 1 persuasion, and that goes into my hand. Cool. Down here in my hand. Okay, so now I have some amount of influence here. I can use that persuasion for something. Now, do I want to purchase dress cards from the modiste? Maybe. I don't. I do have some cards shuffled in here from the expansion, but I don't have the special cards and all the extra things that go along with them. So I may just choose to just discard those and draw new ones when I get them, just for the sake of simplicity. I chose not to include the expansions in this playthrough because this game is not complicated. It's just got a lot of language related comprehension that I needed to get through, and I just never had time to fully ingest all of the details. So I'm going to go ahead and discard these expansion cards, and I'm going to draw up to 4 until I don't get an expansion card. There we go. Okay, so never mind. That was a bit of housekeeping, but there we go. That's my starting 4 cards of the base game. So it's a pretty good array, actually. I've got 4 dresses of 4 different traits. I'm pretty comfortable with that. I don't think I want to spend my 1 persuasion on another dress card right now. So what else can I do in town? I can invite a character. Inviting a character is good because it gets more people out, which gives us more options to come visit on a given round at a setting. But is that what I want to do? Or do I want to hoard my persuasion for right now? I think I might just not spend it, because those are the 2 things I can do. I can either add characters to the settings, these 3 settings here. And I can say, well, I don't like the characters that are out here. Let's get somebody better. And I might choose to do that here at the King's Gallery, because what you ideally want to do is you want to visit with characters that match the location. So this particular character here has 3 traits that don't match the King's Gallery. And when you visit somebody who has a particular interest in that setting, then you've piqued their curiosity. So, and that's yet again another piece of piquing a character's interest. If you interact with a character who has a trait that matches the trait type of the setting, you have piqued that character's interest and also gain additional rewards. So if I visit with this character at the King's Gallery, I won't get the extra reward because they're kind of just there because they have to be. They're not there because they really care about the King's Gallery, and they're just kind of whatever. They're just the society member, and they're just there because they were invited. But if I were to instead visit Charles Bingley here, Charles Bingley has the wit trait on his card, and the Queen's Library also is the wit trait as well. So these do match. So I will get all three, basically both lines of the character here. I'll come here. Both lines of this character. So at the bottom, at the top of it, it says 1 endearment. If I socialize with Charles Bingley in the Queen's Library here, I will get 1 endearment. Easy peasy. Because it doesn't matter. I get the top no matter what. But because it matches, I would also get a dress and another persuasion. So that's definitely somebody I would want to visit, because I can pique his interest in the Queen's Library. Over here, in contrast, you'll notice Mr. Elton here. He's a fairly one-dimensional human being. He's got no interests. He doesn't care. So even though this wealth aligns with the wealth in the setting, he himself, he doesn't care. He's got no special interests at all. He's a very drab human being. So no matter what, you're just going to get 1 dress card by socializing with him, but no special interests bonuses whatsoever, making him less attractive to talk to, as in real life. Dull and uninteresting people. You don't really want to talk to dull and uninteresting people in real life when you're socializing. So definitely my number 1 goal here is to visit with my intended love interest, Mr. Bingley. And it's probably going to be my opponent's goal as well. So I don't know. On the one hand, I'm thinking maybe I do go get another character to talk to in the hopes that maybe I could get more benefit. In fact, let's do that. For the sake of argument, let's do that. We're in town. This is the opportunity to do that. We're going to invite a character. So we're going to spend our measly 1 persuasion that we just got at the top of the round, and we're going to invite a character. Inviting a character. Interesting. So that's annoying. Okay, so the quick start sheet gives me a reminder of what I can do in town, but that doesn't really describe what happens in town. So I have to kind of know that answer. That's okay. I think I already know that answer, but I just want to make sure I'm not missing something. There we go. Inviting new and intriguing characters to the story is a sure way of livening up any setting. To invite a character, pay 1 persuasion, draw 1 character from the top of the character deck, and place that character at any setting of your choice. Okay, cool. Nice. Okay, that's what I thought. So I basically just pay that 1's persuasion, and then I top deck the character deck. And 1 moment. Okay, back to here. And what we're going to do is, who do we get? We got Mr. George Wickham. Mr. George Wickham likes charm and wealth and vigor. Okay, well, we have a wealth and we have nothing else. This would be the match. However, he's another dull and uninteresting human being because he's got no special interests to be piqued, just like Mr. Elton here. So we'll go ahead and we'll stick him in the same room just because they are a match, but I don't think it matters. So we'll stick him there. That's fine. It was worth a shot to try to get another interesting human to talk to, but it is what it is. I'm not going to send a calling card or leave a calling card or send any correspondence. I could have purchased a dress card from the modiste, which probably would have been the other good play, but I have good starting cards, so I'm happy with it. Okay, now what do? Well, we visit settings. Starting with the first player, each player in clockwise order selects the face-up setting. In this case, because I'm solo player, I always go first, so it's always going to be me. So I select one of the face-up settings to visit. So I'm going to go visit, of course, the Queen's Library, because I want to talk to my intended here, the one that I have in my head, the person I want to marry. Okay. Yes. So Each player in clockwise order selects the face-up setting that they will visit and places their pawn on it. Done. You may also play a dress if you wish. I don't have a dress for this location that matches. That's troubling. That is troubling. But I don't care. I'm not going to. I'm going to save my dresses. We're just going to do it. We're going to see what happens. I'm a young and impetuous girl. I don't always care. I just want to see if this Mr. Bingley lives up to his reputation, after all. Okay. I don't... the benefit, though, hold on, let me think. Maybe it's enough to visit one of these other locations and talk to the less interesting people, because yeah, and at least do that first, because there's a chance I might be able to get a dress from one of these interactions that I can then use to bolster my visit with Mr. Bingley in a future round. So I think what I'm going to, or a future turn rather, I think what I'm going to do instead, I do have a modest little 4 wealth dress. And at least I would be able to bump that up. On the other hand, here's the thing to consider. My 3 traits align with Mr. Bingley's traits because he's my like perfect love match. So I'm kind of incentivized to level up those traits first, because if I can get those traits to 5, each of them to level 5, then I can marry Mr. Bingley. I'm finally of a level of status that he will stand up and take notice of me for real. I mean, he'll know who I am, but he won't want to marry me until I really level these up, right? I need to be on like a certain level of honorable, a certain level of witty, and a certain level of charming, right? I think we all do, and to a certain degree, at least some of those. So I want to level those up. Plus, I have special abilities that I get if I get them above 3. So at least if I get charm and wit above 3, then I start to get extra benefits. So I really want to level those up. So I want to wear a dress that matches, because when I do, I go up in trait value. I get a point in that trait when I match. I can't match right now. So I'm going to go here intentionally because I can match. And that will let me get a dress that I can maybe, if I draw the right dress, be able to play in here to get that point updated. It's not perfect, but it's something. I think it's better than playing a mismatched location. Oh, now that's interesting. What if instead I go and visit the King's Legacy? Or sorry, the King's Gallery, not Legacy. Because the bonus for visiting with Mr. Henry Crawford, the basic interaction benefit is 1 dress, and the bonus is 1 persuasion or 1 dress. So I could draw 2 dress cards just by being the one that visits with Henry Crawford. So I'm going to do that because I also have a green dress card that will let me match that, and green is one of my 3 traits. So I think it makes more sense to visit the King's Gallery. So that's what I'm going to do. Sorry, I had to talk through it, but I wanted to make sure I'm not wasting a trick here. Okay, so I've done that, and I am going to play a dress card. It is played face down because in the base game, in the game multiplayer game rather, it is not known to the other players just how good of a dress you're going to wear. You're saying I'm going to wear a dress, and it does match because that's the only reason I would put this dress card down. In fact, the rules say that you're only going to do this if you have a matching dress. If everybody else is going to do that too, they're going to put that down, and we're going to resolve that rivalry together later. But for right now, I'm just signaling I'm wearing a dress. It does match. Okay. You may also place 1 dress card from your hand face down if its trait type matches the trait of the setting. It does. If you do, your heroine immediately gains 1 point in the matching trait type. Well, because it's a green setting, it is the honor setting. I, on my player board down here, go from 1, which is the starting for my character, up to 2. I've now gained 1 step in honor. Okay, cool. Yep. And you may choose to resolve the settings special ability. The special ability reads on this card, it reads, can I see it in that view? I think you can, a little bit better anyway. The King's Gallery says you may gain 1 of the top 3 persuasion cards in the discard pile. There's really only 1. It's the one that I just spent. The other 2 were kind of expansion cards that I was just filtering out of my hand. And I might as well. Why wouldn't I take my persuasion card back? That's cool. All because I wore a matching dress that is the correct dress for this occasion. Perfect. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Yes, okay, interacting with characters. Okay, so what does the solo bot do when its time comes to visit? Does it go to town, first of all? Let's find out. Let's see. Opponent's turn, going to town. Your opponents will go to town. Okay, so she's gonna go to town. Cool, I'll come back out here. So, in fact, I'll go a little bit closer so we can see what's happening. There we go. Okay, so here we go. So she's up here in town. Your opponent will always take a setting or plot action to gain endearment if possible. However, for plot most amiable, yeah, okay, fine. Blah, 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 your opponent's priority, that's settings and plot. Okay, how about going to town? There we go. Collecting a persuasion card. Okay, so she'll collect a persuasion card. Doesn't matter what it is. Fine, that's actually not a persuasion card. That is a dress card. She will collect a persuasion card. Got it? Remember to move their trait tracker up 1 space for the trait appearing on the card, if any. Okay, so when she gains a persuasion card, we flip it over. And in the corner, it gives you a little bit of, it gives you the trait symbol. So she's gonna go up in wit when she gains persuasion cards. When she's gonna go up in the matching symbol that's on that persuasion card, if any, when she gains those. That's how she goes up and starts to compete. Okay. Just happened to be that wit was the card, the symbol on that particular card. Right. If your opponent has any 3 traits with 5 or more, yeah, okay, so eventually they will start to marry, try to marry people too. Fine. So in other words, I mean, she's gonna draw a card every round, and as long as that card has a symbol on it, she's gonna gain a trait benefit, which means that more often than not, she's going to go up 1 in one of her traits, which probably means that the game's gonna last about 15 rounds-ish, give or take. That'd be a guess. Okay. If possible, they will spend 3 persuasion cards. She doesn't have 3 persuasion cards, fine. Yep, okay. So really the only thing she cares about is going to town, getting her card, and bumping up her trait. That's what she gets. Okay, cool. Opponent location choice. Great, now it's time to visit a location. Your opponent will choose their setting in the following priority order. She's not currently able to marry anybody, so we move on. Draw a dress card and look at the trait. Okay, so we'll draw a dress card. And this is a pink, kind of the, I think this is charm, right? Okay. So this is the charm. Determine which setting your opponent visits. She wants to go to charm, but none of them match charm. Okay. If this trait is not present in any of the settings, they visit the setting with the trait on their heroine card that they currently have the least of on the tracker. Got it? So that would be on her card, on her character board, she currently has a 1. And one of the least of is going to be one of these 3 down here because they don't have, because they don't have 1. And this is 1, this is 2, these are 0 down here. They haven't done any. So of the 3, that match a location. It's this green one. So she's, of course, going to come compete with me in the King's Gallery. That figures. If none of their traits appear on a setting, they visit the leftmost setting. Yeah, okay. So this dress card gets discarded. This is one of these. Okay. And so, because this is the trait, the green is the only trait of the 3 locations that match, and it's one of the lowest of her available traits, she's going to go here because she's going to try to bump this up. So unfortunately, that means she is going to try to rival me for visiting Mr. Henry Crawford over here. That sucks, but hey, that's life. Okay. Now, opponents attempt to play a dress. Flip your opponent's face down hand of dresses over. Your opponents play the highest one that matches the trait on the setting where they are present. So they're looking for green, and of course their highest green is at 10. So they play that. After gaining the matching trait on their tracker and comparing scores with you if there is a rivalry. So she is going to gain a level in that color, which I have done. So now she beats me because I played my modest little 5 to her 10 value. She got a 10 value to my 5. So she beats me in a rivalry. Okay, so we've done all of that. After gaining the match, discard all of their dress cards and replace them with 4 new dress cards. So she's always going to have a fresh hand of cards every round. And I'm not really looking at them, just making sure that they're not expansion cards. Okay, cool. So she beat me. If your opponent visits a character, they choose the character. Well, when would they choose a character? Your opponent will only visit a setting with at least 1 character. There is 1 character. If your opponent visits a character, they choose the character. When would they not choose a character? That's weird. The way it's described is it's like if they choose to visit a character. But I don't understand the decision as to why they wouldn't visit a character. In any case, if your opponent chooses to visit a character, if they cannot marry, your opponent chooses the character whose interest has been piqued, even if they don't provide a reward for being piqued. Okay. If there's no match, they visit the character in the earliest position. So they're going to visit the only character here, which is Mr. Crawford. So essentially, she's going to come down here and visit Mr. Crawford. Okay, so what happens when she visits a character? Yeah. I'm guessing that just means that she gets, I don't know. What happens? Whenever they gain a persuasion card, they move their trait tracker up 1 space for the trait appearing on the card, if any. If they do not use, however, they do not use persuasion cards for any other actions. Okay, so she earned dresses are added to your opponent's hand. Okay, so she earns a dress for talking to Mr. Crawford. So we're going to go to the modiste and get her a dress, which adds to her hand. And she does earn a persuasion. So she's going to get a persuasion from the tea garden as well. Okay. So what happens when I lose a rivalry in this game? I don't think I get to visit the same person, right? The player with the highest trait total gets to select a character to interact with first, placing their pawn on that character, followed by the player with the next highest trait total, and so on until all players in the setting have either interacted with a character or all characters have been interacted with. Yeah. Aha. If there are fewer characters than players at a setting, then one or more of the players will not get to interact with a character this round. So she has truly beaten me to the punch in visiting Mr. Crawford, and I don't get to visit anybody. That sucks. Okay. So what happens at the end of this interaction here? So she literally just cut me off. By the way, the character that I am playing against is Lady Susan Vernon, from the story Lady Susan. And the reason I chose that one is because ideologically, she would be diametrically opposed to Jane Bennett from Pride and Prejudice. So it seemed like a very kind of nasty rivalry to pair them together, even though they're from different literary stories. Okay, so, right. That was the end of the first turn. So what ends up happening is we go to town, we do the town actions, heroine abilities, did all of that. Visiting settings, right. Okay. Resolving character rewards. Did that. Marrying a character we're not marrying. End of the chapter. Checking for the end of the chapter. Once all visited settings have had their character interactions resolved, flip each visited setting face down. So this one's going to come back to me. This one's going to come back to her. This setting is the one we visited. So it's going to go face down. Okay. Then for each visited setting, flip each character who was not interacted with face down as well. One of us interacted with Henry Crawford, so he will stay face up. We'll talk about, now check whether any face up settings remain on the board. There are remaining settings. We have these 2 remaining settings left. So we're still in the first chapter. We're not done visiting these settings. So now we go again. Except the only 2 settings that we have left are these 2. Okay. Yep. Okay. All right, cool. So now we just go again. It's the start of the chapter. So now we've gone to town already. We only get to go to town once per chapter. Now we're just visiting locations. Well, my second choice is to try to visit Buckingham House on the staircase, because I can still maybe get a dress if I can meet with Mr. Elton here. It just wouldn't have been as good or as lucrative as visiting with Henry Crawford, but we'll try again over here with the kind of boring Mr. Elton here, just to hope we might get one dress. So the goal there. Okay, so since I do have a matching dress of this type, the wealth type, I will play that face down. And because it is wealth, I will go up in wealth. So I go from 0 to 1 in wealth. And now, what is she going to do? She's going to draw a dress card, and she's going to try to go pink. She can't go pink, so she looks at hers, and she goes, what's my lowest? These 2, they don't match. So when they don't match, she just goes where? She goes, I almost had it all. Okay, if the trait is not present in any settings, visit the setting with the trait on their heroine card. They currently have the least of on their card. If none of their traits appear on a setting, they visit the leftmost setting. If none of their traits, okay, so we'll just keep moving up this chain until we go to the lowest one that matches, which is wealth. Because of the 2, she's got more wit than she's got wealth, and these are the 2, this is wealth and this is wit. So she's going to come follow me again, and she's going to try to compete with me. So I played a wealth dress. Now we look at her wealth cards. And she has multiple wealth cards. I'm guessing she plays the highest of the 2, I would imagine. Let's double check. She's got 2, and one of them is really, really powerful. Definitely going to kill me. Yeah. Going to town. Okay, fine. Right. Place address. Right. Your opponent plays the highest one of the that matches the trade. Yep. So she does play the highest possible card. That means she plays her 12 wealth card against my pittance of a 4 and beats me. Now, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. She may choose to go see Mr. Wickham here. I don't know. How does she choose? She chooses by she can't marry. Whose interest has been piqued. Neither of them can be piqued. They do match, though, so technically you can pique their interests. It's just that they don't give you anything better because they're boring people. If multiple characters' interests have been piqued, in this case, they both have wealth in their interests, so they are both piqued. She chooses the earliest position, which is, of course, the one that I want. So she's going to once again snipe the character that I want to visit, leaving me needing to visit with Mr. George Wickham, not who I wanted. But it's fine. So she gets a dress. These 4 go away. And she gets 4 new cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. That means she's got 5 now. Again. Okay, so that's her. And what happens to me? I get 1 endearment. Okay, well, that's not terrible. At least I get a point. Okay. So that comes back to me. These dresses that we competed against are gone. The setting, it says you may gain one of the top 3 dress cards in the discard pile. I did do that. Now I'm going to ignore the dress cards that we just added, including the 4 she just discarded and the 1 she used to decide where she's going. Because when I chose to go there, it was these 3. So I'm going to ignore the one that we're not playing with, and that leaves these 3. I am going to take the one of the top 3 dress cards. I'm going to take this 10 green. Thanks for the dress card, lady. Mine. Okay. Is that all that gets there? What else happens for her? Yeah, going to town. Right. Okay. They just get what's on the card. So she got her dress and I got that. Okay, got it. So that puts Buckingham Staircase done. Well, we still have 1 location left because nobody's gone here yet. Just my intended. I was trying to get myself in a position to be like ready to go. Nobody has spent persuasion yet. So the Queen's Library special ability says you may gain one of the top 3 persuasion cards in the discard pile. I don't have a blue dress. There wasn't even one I could have chosen from the discard pile there, or I would have. So I'm just not going to play a dress, and I'm not going to gain one of the top 3 persuasion cards in the discard pile. I'm just going to go here, because so is she. We know that, because it's the only setting left, and we're definitely both going to meet with her. So she is going to play a dress to see if she beats my 2. She does not have a green, so she does not beat her 2, my 2. My 2 wins to her 1, because she doesn't have a green dress. For once, something has worked in my favor. So I'm going to visit Mr. Charles Bingley. I don't have a matching dress, so at least though I do I do get the basic benefit, which is 1 endearment. So I go up 1 more point. Okay, that's not bad. And he stays around because he's been visited. So she comes back here. She doesn't have a dress, so she doesn't get anything for it. So I come back here. Okay, so that's that. All 4 of these people have been socialized with. So this is the end of the chapter. We've now visited all the scenes, or all the settings rather. And now at the end of that, it says checking for the end of the chapter. Once all visited settings have had their character interactions resolved, flip each visited setting face down, done that. Then for each visited setting, flip each character who was not interacted with face down as well. Well, they were all interacted with when they were interacted with. So now check whether any face-up settings remain on the board. If all settings are face down, check whether any players have been married. No players have been married. Okay. I wish it would just tell you, but okay. It doesn't tell you what happens next. It just figures you're going to go back and start again, which is true, but it would have been nice to be able to say, now do this. Okay. Subsequent chapters. Gather the characters who remain on the board after the previous chapter. So that's all 4 of them. These are all going to be gathered together. Okay. And then it says, then draw 1 additional character. I've drawn 1 additional character. So that's how this list of people will grow naturally, is that I just draw 1 character. And then I shuffled those cards all together. So all 4 of the people we just saw, plus the new mystery person. Yeah, okay, so here's how this works. Now that we've shuffled these, we're going to go from setting to setting to setting. And the minimum has to be reached first. So we're going to do this, and then that, and then that. So that's the minimum for a 2-player game, 1 character per setting location. Now that that's been reached, we go again in order. So we go 1 and then 2. Okay, because we're at the minimum, we don't draw another one so that there's 2 in every location. We just have to worry about that there's 1 in every location. And then we just keep dealing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 until we run out of cards for the rest of them. So this is our distribution for this round. Mr. Bingley's over here in this yet to be determined setting. Okay, now what happens? If any setting has fewer than minimum characters, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yep. Settings card. Draw and place any number of settings card face up in the empty spaces. Okay, so I think that these settings go over here into the discard pile. And then we have 3 new settings. Okay, beautiful. So what did we get? We got the Carlton house, and the benefit of wearing a matching dress here says you may give an opponent 1 dress to draw 2 persuasion. Ooh, interesting. And then what we got over here, yeah, you can't really see this one, so I'll just maybe slide it over for the sake of this view. This one, the second one, says Cupola Room at Kensington Palace. Discard 1 persuasion to draw 2 characters. Place each at any face-up setting. Ooh, that's cool. So I can get more people out to go visit. That's nice. And then the British Institution says you may look at the top 2 cards of the dress deck. Swap 1 of them with 1 dress from your hand. That's going to be pretty handy. Okay, so this is our new distribution. Cool. So, first things first, we both go to town, and I draw a persuasion card, so does she. Okay, keep these straight. My persuasion card says 1 persuasion, and then it's a purple. It says it's one of these, and I don't have the list of traits up and not memorized yet either. So forgive me, I will get those pulled back up again. It's a vigor. It's this purple vigor flower that matches that location. It says, after all players have chosen a setting, move your pawn to a different setting. Ooh. That's cool. So in other words, she could be like, I'm going to come mess with you again. And I'll be like, you know what? Get out of here, lazy Susan. I mean, lady Susan. So we're going to see what happens there. So I have 2 persuasion now. I may give my opponent 1 dress to draw 2 persuasion. Interesting. My betrothed over here is in this capability trait British institution. I don't have a capability dress. So once again, I'm dress hunting. Well, I'm in town, and it's the one chance I have to get dresses. So I'm thinking I might just spend them both and draw 2 more dress cards. I only have 3 dresses, so that would put me at my dress max, but I'm okay with that. I'm going to spend both of my persuasion. I'm drawing 2 dresses, going to the modiste, and I did not draw the right color dress. And in fact, I drew a level 1 dress, which sucks, but that's all right. Not the end of the world. I can make it work. Okay, so I'm at my dress limit of 5. She has no such limit, unfortunately, because she's the rich lady Susan Vernon, apparently. Okay, now, since I go first, where do I want to go? I want to go places that are going to earn me dresses. Well, Henry Crawford here. Henry Crawford will earn me a dress. Yeah. And because I'm going to be wearing a dress that matches this setting, that will pique his interest, and that will earn me either 1 persuasion or 1 dress. So if I can manage to make that work, let's go visit with Henry Crawford. Let's try to, anyway. Okay, what is she going to do? She is going to try to visit a wealth location. There is a wealth location, so she's going to come down here. So that's where she's going to go. That's good. I'm going to wear a dress, definitely. I'm going to wear my level 1 dress because I don't have to compete with her. But the reason why is that lets me go up on that track. So I get a level 1 of that type. And I now also get to give my opponent 1 dress to draw 2 persuasion. Do I want to do that? Maybe. Maybe I will. Yeah, I need my persuasion back for later. So I'm going to give my opponent a dress. I've done that. I've taken a card from my hand and put it into hers. And then I'm going to draw 2 persuasion. These 2 persuasion have abilities. If I use this one as a calling card, it's worth 2 persuasion. And this one says, at the start of the chapter, you may replace 1 setting with a setting from the discard pile. Ooh, that's handy. Okay. All right. So I've chosen to play a dress. I don't know offhand whether the AI will just always play a dress if it can. Let's go look. Because that matters whether she keeps a dress or not, but opponent attempts to play a dress. Flip your opponent's face down hand. So it will. Yeah, it will. Okay. So we take a look at her hand, and we're looking for wealth dresses. She does have a wealth dress. It's the only dress of that type that she has, so she's going to play it. And she goes up in wealth for that choice. And she can't marry, so she's not going to visit the person she could marry. I'm kind of going back to the book again because it's not entirely immediately obvious which one she should visit. Opponents, if your opponent visits a character, they choose to character and prior to your starting character, they're able to marry. If they cannot marry, your opponent chooses a character's interest has been piqued, even if they don't provide a reward. If no character, okay. Interest hasn't peaked. They both are peaked. So they're going to go, she's going to go to the earliest of the two. So she's coming down here, and I believe she gets an endearment. That's what I think happens there, because that character grants an endearment. Okay, now back to me. I'm here. I've done the Carlton House capability here. And now I am choosing who to visit. We're going to visit with Henry Crawford, as we discussed. And because I piqued his interest by wearing a matching dress for the setting, I get a dress for the basic interaction, and then I also unlock the secondary interaction, the piqued interest interaction, which gives me 1 persuasion or 1 dress. I already have 2 persuasion. I'm going to go for the 1 dress. So I get to draw 2 dress cards. I'm hoping that I will get the horse, whatever that is. And well, this is another one of the expansion ones, so I'll draw again. Okay, I didn't get the dress I wanted, but one of the dresses I got was a 12. So that doesn't suck. I am back up to 5 dresses, though. Okay, now, whoever we didn't visit in our settings, they go face down. So these people are now gone. They're going to be discarded later. That doesn't mean we can't get them back, but they're no longer going to be characters in our story because we chose not to spend time with them. Okay, so now they come back off the board, and these 2 settings get turned face down because we have just visited them. That leaves just 1 setting remaining, so we're both going to come here. I don't have a matching dress, so I'm not going to wear one. She doesn't have a matching dress, so those get discarded. And she gets 4 more dresses. So because we're not wearing dresses, the only rivalry to compare is what level we're at on our boards, and we're both at 0. She breaks ties, so she comes to see Bingley. I don't get the benefit of visiting here, and I don't get the trait increase either. Neither does she, because she didn't wear a dress, and neither did I. She does, however, get the endearment bump, so she's tied with me on endearment. So these both come back, and then Charles stays there. This gets flipped. It is now the end of the round, so these 3 settings come off and are discarded. These 3 come with me for the reshuffle, and these 2 go into the character discard pile. Okay, we take these 3, we add 1 from the deck, and we shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Okay. Okay. And then, as was before, 1 per, and then they're left over. New settings, private library, or the quadrangle, Hampton Court. The library and the quadrangle both have no special visiting benefits whatsoever. And the private library says you may draw 1 character from the deck and place them at any setting on the board. That's if I wear a matching dress to that location. Okay. At the start of the chapter, replace 1 setting with a setting from the discard pile. Nah. I won't do that. I have a matching dress for the location of Charles Bingley. I'm tempted to go there. Because I need to raise that trait up. And I have a pretty strong dress that I can play there. So let's first and foremost go to town. We both get a persuasion from the tea garden. My persuasion reads, it's the green trait, and it says, after winning a rivalry, gain 1 endearment. That's if I play this. I would want to play that card to earn an extra endearment. Okay. You know, Yeah, anyway, interesting. So am I going to invite another character? Maybe. Am I going to go buy another dress? I can't. I have a total of 5. I mean, I could, but I'd have to discard down to 5. So what's the point of that? After winning a rivalry, gain an endearment. Calling card. I don't have any blue dresses. And I do have a level 12 and a level 10 green dress. So here's what I'll do. Let's visit the modiste. I'm going to play 1 persuasion to buy a dress. And of course, it's a pink dress. I don't need another pink dress, but it is what it is. I am going to go ahead and discard down to 5. So I'll discard my 1. So that was a waste, but that's all right. It was worth a shot to go try. Okay, since I go first, I want to visit with Charles Bingley before she can do that. So I'm going to go there. What's she going to do? She's going to go purple. She can't go purple because none of those 3 are purple. So, no, we're both at 2. Knocked over the endearment tracker pawns, pardon me. Okay. So she's going to look at her trait board and she's going to go to the lowest. That means she's going to come compete with me because her lowest trait of the 2 that are out, which are wit and charm, is charm. So she's going to come compete with me to go visit Mr. Bingley. That means I'm going big or going home. So I'm going to play my level 11 dress. That lets me go up in charm because I played a matching dress. She is going to play her only charm dress, which is 6. So I win. She doesn't get to visit anybody, but I get to visit Mr. Charles. But she did make me spend my fancy dress to do it, which sucks. But because I piqued his interest, I get an endearment. So I'm up on the endearment track. I do get a dress, so I'll draw that. And it is a 7. That's nothing to sneeze at, but it's in that kind of that purpley one. And then 1 persuasion as well. That's nice as well. So my persuasion that I just drew says, after winning a rivalry, gain 1 endearment. Speaking of, I already had one of those. And I think I will spend it. So I'll spend that prior one that I had that did exactly that because I just won a rivalry. So I will earn an endearment. I'll go up to 2, go up 1 more. So now I'm at 4. Now I just got that back again, but it was just a reminder. So, okay, so there's that. So this location goes face down. He stays face up. He's come back. Now where do I want to go? Somewhere that has a match. Henry Crawford matches with the private library, so I would get extra goodies. So let's go visit him. And I'm going to play a not blue dress, so I'm not going to play a dress, I guess. Is she going to play a dress? She does have a blue dress. She's going to play it and beat me. Oh, wait, these are actually old. I need to draw 4 new ones before I can tell. I should have drawn 4 before and did not. So here's her 4 new ones, and she still has a blue card. She drew a 12 blue, so she's still going to beat me. And the interest is peaked here, so she's going to go to the one that I wanted to go to. Figures. That's not the end of the world. So she goes up, because she played a matching dress, she goes up in wit. And because she's going here, she gets an extra dress card. And she gets, I don't know if she chooses what she chooses, but I think it's a persuasion. Because it's a persuasion or a dress, and I think it's a persuasion that she would choose, but I don't know. because those are just adding up to extra points at the end of the game, so it would make sense that she's collecting those. Okay. So she gets the extra goodies. I went and visited with Mr. Wickham, who just gives me 1 endearment. I feel like I might be missing something. Let me just double check that I'm not supposed to be gaining traits by socializing with people. Right. No, okay. It's only when you're wearing matching dress, apparently, I think. Once you have selected a character to interact with, you gain the rewards listed on the character cards. You always gain the reward listed on the top line. You gain 1 point in the trait type shown. Oh, I have been missing out. No wonder this game is moving a little slowly. So that's what I missed. And in fact, she would gain 1 in wealth for the same reason. So this particular character has a wealth sign underneath there. This character has a charm sign underneath there. So I get the 1 endearment, which I just took, but I also get a bump in that trait, the charm trait. So everybody else that we visited prior to this, that would have also been true. So this should be moving along a lot faster than that. But now that I understand that, I will continue to play it like that. No harm, no foul. It just meant the last few turns were moving slower than it should have. But that's fine. This actually changes up the strategy a lot, because now visiting people matters more, because you're gaining bumps in traits as well. I wondered what those symbols were for. That was buried in the text quite a lot. Okay. Well, either way, these 2 people are going to stick around because they were both visited. This setting goes face down. This comes here. If you're not quite sure what I meant by any of that, ask in chat and I will answer. All right. Now, last one's is library. I don't have a blue card, so I'm not going to play a blue dress. This goes away. No, that doesn't go away, because that's the one she gained in benefit. She should have gotten 4 more. And she did get 1. She's going to play her highest, so she's going to play that. So these 4 go away. And she beats me, so she's going to go socialize with, what's his nugget? Captain Frederick Wentworth. So she goes up in persuasion. And because she wore a matching dress, she also goes up in wealth. She gains 2 persuasion and an endearment. So that was a really good turn for her. I might need to start spending persuasion on characters, so that I have somebody to meet with when she beats me in rivalries. That's what it's seeming like I'm missing out on here. Okay, so these 4 blokes all were visited. We're going to grab a new person and we're going to shuffle. And from this point forward, we're going to start earning a lot more traits a lot faster. That's all right. Training rounds is what it is. All right, so. Right. Bingley. Right. Okay. Settings. We got the public library. You may move 1 character from another setting to this setting. Oh. Delicious. Okay. We have the throne room at Carlton House. You may take 1 setting from the discard pile and place it on top of the settings deck. Ooh, that's neat. Or Westminster Abbey. You may discard 1 persuasion to gain 1 endearment or draw 1 dress. Well, as it happens, I would like to visit Mr. Bingley over here. But before we do that, we got to go to town. Let's go to town. That means I get a persuasion. She gets a persuasion. My new persuasion says, at the start of the chapter, move one character to another setting, if I choose to spend it for that. Okay. I have 5 dresses. Do I want to cycle any of these dresses out? Wouldn't hurt. Yeah. Okay, we're going to spend 1 persuasion, not there, to go get another dress. We got another green dress. That's not what we wanted, but we have to discard down to 5. So there we go. Okay, well, it was worth a shot. I like to go shopping for dresses when I can. Right. I'm going to try to go visit Mr. Bingley here. I could try to go get a guy, though. Before I do that and leave town, do I want to go invite somebody? Maybe. I like these persuasion cards, though. Don't really want to spend them on speculating for some character that I can't choose. So I'm going to take a swing. I have a really strong dress, so I'm going to hope that that's enough. We're going to go to Westminster, and we're going to try to meet up with Bingley here. So what is she going to do? Oh, and I'm going to wear a dress to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and swing for the fences. I don't want to get told no here, so I'm playing my 12 green dress, which is a matching dress. And what is she going to do? She is going to do the same thing. She's coming to green. And I didn't draw 4, so that's fine. I'll draw 4 now. See what she gets. She does not draw a green dress card. So she's got no dress to wear. Actually, that's not true. One of those was an expansion card. We're not playing with those. So she draws again, but she still didn't get a green dress card because this 3 was actually drawn for where she was going to go. So she drew no dress card that helps her. So she's going there, and that's where she said she wanted to go, but she's got no dress to rival me with. So she loses. I can, if I want to, discard 1 persuasion to gain an endearment or draw a dress. Gaining an endearment wouldn't suck, but do I still technically win a rivalry? Yes, because it's a trait rivalry. She's coming to me, so I'm going to spend this persuasion card. After winning a rivalry, gain 1 endearment. So I'm going to do that. And I could spend my other one to gain another endearment or draw another dress. I'm about to gain another persuasion card, so I feel like I'm going to do that. I'm going to take them up on that offer. I'm going to discard a persuasion, and I'm going to gain an endearment. Just go for straight points here. I've got some pretty good dresses. Do I go for another dress opportunity, though? Didn't have to spend, well, I basically would just get another modiste visit. That's all that would be. Nah, I'm going to take the opportunity and take the points while I can. Okay, so I'm going to go visit the only character I can, Bingley. And I get 1 endearment and a 1 dress. Cool. A blue dress. That's good. That'll come in handy in a minute. Okay. And 1 persuasion. And because he's got charm and wit, I go up 1 in each of those. Because I get both of those benefits. I'm on my way up. I'm like a midway. If you can see, I have 2 in wit and in honor, and I've got 4 in charm. I got to get them all to 5, all 3 of those, before I can marry Bingley here. But we're courting him. We're working on him. Okay, so this dress goes away. She comes back here. I come back here. This gets turned face down. I am going to go, do I have an honor dress? I don't. Okay, we're going to go to the public library. And I'm going to play the only dress I can, which is a 7 wit. She is going to go, quernst. She's going to go to the wealth location. She's going to go to the throne room. So she's not going to compete with me. No rivalry. She's going to try to wear a dress, though, because she'd like to get that matching benefit if she can. And she does, well, hold on. She does draw on the river here. She drew a 10 wealth, so she will wear a dress. So she goes up in wealth for doing that. She just made it to 5 in wealth. And which character is she going to choose? Piqued interest. Wentworth wins. So she's going to go up in whatever that is, and 1 in wealth as well. She gains 2 persuasion and 1 endearment. Okay. So that was her. I'm wearing this, so I go up in wit. And of the 2, I definitely want to go visit with Crawford here. Because going up in wealth wouldn't be the worst idea. And I'd get more dresses and or persuasion. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go visit with Crawford, and I'll go up in wealth. And I only have 1 persuasion, so I'll do 1 and 1. I'll do a persuasion. That one just says calling card 2 persuasion, so it's just a standard persuasion card, and 1 dress. And I got a 4, which kind of replaces the blue that I just lost, which is nice. And I'm up to my hand limit of 5 dresses again. Thank you, Mr. Crawford. Nobody visited with this gentleman. He says, you may move 1 character from another setting to this setting. I didn't choose to do that. Okay, last but not least, throne room. Yellow. Do I have any yellow dresses? I don't, so I'm not wearing a dress. She is drawing cards to determine whether she can do a dress here. And she can, so she will. She's wearing a 9. She beats me in wealth by a long shot. So she gets to go first. Piquing interest is what she cares about. So of course she's going to go to that one. Fine. So she goes up in wealth. No, she went up in wealth for this, but then she goes up in wealth again for meeting with him and in persuasion as well. No, I don't know if that's persuasion or not. What's the name of that trait? It is capability. Okay. So she gets 2 persuasion and an endearment. And Wickham is no longer visited, so he goes away. Oh, that's not true. That's not true. Wickham is visited by me because she's the only character left, so I get 1 endearment. Okay. Back home. This goes away. This character gets discarded. Traits are moving a lot faster now. That's nice. I think that's there, hopefully. These 4 blokes come back into the character pile. Face down, stranger. Shuffle, shuffle. Interesting. Bigley. University Library. The Crescent or Carlton House North Front. University Library is a wit location. It says you may draw 1 character from the deck and place them at any setting on the board. Interesting. The Crescent has no special ability. It is a vigor location. And then the Carlton House North Front is also a vigor location. And it says, instead of gaining this setting's trait type, you may gain 1 point in any trait. Ooh. I do have a dress that will work in that location. So I do like the university library one. I'm a little worried about not winning that rivalry, though. So do I chance it? We're both equal in trait, so it's a pretty weak looking dress comparatively. This is a new chapter though, so let's go get some dresses first. So we're both in town. For the top of the chapter, I get a persuasion, you get a persuasion. My new persuasion just says correspondence. Okay, so it's nothing special. Great, I'm not going to be doing those. I will spend that though on going to the modiste. So I'll get a new dress, and it is green, which does not help me at all. I guess I could spend a second one instead, but too little too late. That brings me over the limit, so I'll just discard it because it's the weakest one. I'll keep those around. I'm not going to do anything crazy for now. All right, fine. I think I'm worried about not visiting Mr. Bingley, so I'm going to just try it and hope that she doesn't come over there. I'll play my 4 blue, and it's a weak dress, but hey, it is what it is. Let's see what she wants to do. She's going to go wealth. She can't go wealth. There's no wealth there. So she's going to look at the weakest of the ones that are here. The weakest of the ones is vigor. So she's going to go to one of the vigor ones. And of the 2, she's going to go to the leftmost one. So she's going to go here. So she leaves me alone. Because I went here, my wit goes up 1. Because it's a matching dress at the wit location. You may draw 1 character from the deck and place them at any setting on the board. I will do that. Oh, that's complimentary. I'm going to go ahead and put him over here in the Carlton house, so I have an option when I come over there and compete with her. I'll be happy with either one of those. Preferably this one, but actually I really like that because if I came here, I'd get an extra charm, which wouldn't hurt. Okay. So, since there's no rivalry to resolve, I'm definitely going to go visit with Mr. Bingley because those are both trait upgrades that I like. So I get 1 wit and 1 charm. Both are at 5. I got to get moving on my I got to get moving on my honor here. It's only at 2, but I'm otherwise eligible to marry at 5 now for both wit and charm. Because I constantly am plaguing Mr. Bingley with my presence at every visit possible. So, my number 1 priority now is getting my honor up. Okay. So I've done this. I've done this for the traits. Now I get 1 endearment, 1 dress. Ooh, that's nice. I just drew a 12 in the same trait type as the Carlton house. Which dress do I want to get rid of? I don't have to, because that's my 5th dress. Great. And then I also get 1 persuasion. Don't mind if I do. Correspondence. Okay. She doesn't have to compete with me, so she's going to go with the one that gets peaked. And because both of these would get peaked, oh wait, she has to decide what she's drawing, if she's wearing a dress or not first. Hold on. Because that will determine a lot. She is. She's got 1 here. So that's what she's going to wear. She's burning through this dress deck. It's a tall deck, but because it's 4 cards at a time, she burns through that deck. Okay, so she is wearing a dress. She is going to go here to see Henry Crawford. That goes up in wealth. And gives her 1 additional in vigor because she wore a matching dress. And that means she gets a persuasion and a dress. Okay, face down, face down. My dress that I wore gets discarded. These get turned face down. And there's only one left, which is Carlton House. So I'm going to wear my best dress here. I don't know what she's going to have. I could play my second best dress. And here's why. I secretly don't care if, I mean, she'll get an extra endearment, so I guess I should care. But I wouldn't mind the extra charm boost. Not that I need it. I mean, I'm up to 5 at this point. But if later I'm trying to get after Bingley and he's in a charm location, the higher charm, the better. So, You know what? I don't care. I'm going to save that for later. I'm going to play my 7 dress. It's still a matching dress, but I don't really care which one of these two I visit. So that's that. What is she going to do? She's going to draw 4, of course. She's going to see if she can draw a matching dress. She does not. She still does not. And she doesn't in the dress she had on hand already. So no matching dresses. So she can't compete with me, so I get to go first. I just want a rivalry, but I don't have a persuasion that lets me change that. But it says, instead of gaining the settings trait type, you may gain 1 point of any type. Well, I definitely want to increase my honor, so we're going to increase my honor by 1 step. That's great. So now who do I want to visit? If I visit Robert Martin, then I will gain a persuasion and an increase in vigor, which I don't really need, but I will gain 1 endearment. If I come over here, I get an increase in charm, which I already have 5 of. Let's go for the points. Let's go up in vigor, gain a persuasion, and 1 endearment. And so she's going to end up visiting with Wickham and go up in charm. And gain an endearment. So both of them are around still. These 2 are discarded. This is discarded. These gents stay in the running. Mr. Robert Martin, Mr. Bingley, Mr. Howard, Mr. Crawford, Mr. George Wickham. Okay. The opera. You may discard 1 dress and draw 1 dress. It is a wealth location, because of course it is. The study is a wit location with no special benefits. And Allenham. You may draw dress cards up to your hand limit. Well, I'm at my hand limit, I think, or close to it. It's a persuasion? No, a vigor location. Okay, of those, I would really like to be able to swap one of those settings out. No such luck. Do I have a blue dress? I do not. Time to go to town. Let's spend some persuasion. I'm swimming in it. I've got 4. So let's buy 2 dresses for 2 persuasion. That was a pretty good buy. Got an 8 in wealth, or sorry, an 11 in wealth and an 8 in capability. So that 6 will discard the lowest of the honor dresses, sorry, and then we'll take the 8 in the one we don't already have. Cool. So now we have our 5 dresses. She gets a persuasion. I don't know if I did this persuasion already. Maybe I did. But either way, I get a persuasion. She gets a persuasion because we're in town. I probably did already, but I'll have to. If I do, I'll note it in the VOD that I doubled up on persuasion there. Okay, where do I want to go? Did I get a blue dress? I don't think I did. I did not. So I want to go somewhere that gives me a blue dress first, if I can. These settings are terrible for me. In fact, I don't think I have dresses for any of these settings. That sucks. So, since that's the case, let's go to the opera. Where's she going to go? She's going to go to Charm, which she can't do. So her lowest is either, she's definitely going to go to Allenham because it's the lowest trait. And she's going to try to put on a dress here. Let's shuffle this deck briefly. That's a lot of cards to riffle shuffle, so give me a second. Because she burns 4 cards at a time, so this is like a lot of shuffling for this deck. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm just going to do 2 more and then we'll call it a day. Okay. Her 4th card. So she's going there. She's looking to see if she gets a vigor, and she does. So she's going to go ahead and wear a dress, a matching dress, which gives her an increase in vigor. And the only person here to visit is Mr. Howard, which gives her another vigor and an increase in will as well. She gains an endearment and 2 persuasion. That sucks. All right, I'm over here. I don't have a matching dress. I can't get a matching dress. So, of the 2, I'll take the wealth. We'll go see Henry. We'll get an increase in wealth for visiting him, and we get 1 dress. It is, of course, a vigor dress, which I do not need now. Do I want to keep it? Probably. But at what expense? No, it's a 4. Screw that. I'm not going to keep that. Even though it helps me with variety, I have high scoring dresses virtually everywhere else. Okay, so that means Robert Martin's stay is going to go away. This is done. You may discard 1 dress and draw 1 dress. I didn't wear a dress, so I couldn't do that. This is done. That's done. They come home. We're both coming out here. And I don't have a blue dress. She likely will, but let's see. Nope. Nope, she did not draw a blue dress. So neither one of us are wearing a dress. Therefore, it's straight traits. And I am at 5 and she is at 4. I win. I beat a rivalry. Do I have one that says after we're winning a rivalry? I do. I'm going to go ahead and spend this persuasion that says after winning a rivalry, gain 1 endearment. So I'll go up in endearment again. And now I get to choose first. Well, we're definitely going to go to Bingley because between the two of them, I get more bumps for stuff. I get an extra dress. I wish one of them would let me have more honor, but it is what it is. So we'll go here and we'll both go up in endearment and, nope, not in dress, just endearment. Because I don't get the extra benefits. Not endearment, sorry, charm. I get the top line, but not the bottom line because I didn't wear a matching dress. That does let me have 1 endearment, though. So I don't get the dress, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Okay, so that leaves this for her. She goes up 1 endearment and goes up 1 in charm. She's not wearing a dress. Nope, doesn't matter. Not for this. She does go up in charm because she met with him. Okay, back to here. These are gone. This is gone. These guys stick around. We're almost there. I've just got to get my my honor up. If I can get my honor up, I can marry Bingley and the game can end. Or she's crawling her way up and may be eligible to marry here before long and beat me to the punch. We'll see. None of these gentlemen increase my honor. This is killing me, and I haven't seen any honor locations until now, finally. The Queen's Gallery is an honor location. Finally. So that's definitely more where I'm gunning, and I'm going to want to win here. You may give an opponent 1 persuasion to draw 2 dresses. Tempting. You may discard up to 2 dresses to draw 1 dress for each dress discarded. You may discard up to 2 dresses to draw 1 dress for each dress discarded. But you may give an opponent 1 dress to draw 2 persuasion. Interesting. So some variation of that for all 3 of these. So this is the Queen's Gallery, this is Pemberley, and this is Carlton House, the Hall of Entrance. I think let's first and foremost go to town. It is a new chapter, which means we both get persuasion. This persuasion says at the start of the chapter, replace 1 setting with a setting from the discard pile. Oh, well, it is the start of a chapter. Is there one in here? There is. Let's do it. Let's spend this persuasion because it's the start of this chapter. And it says, I'm going to swap out Carlton House, the entrance hall, for the King's Gallery. The King's Gallery is another honor location. And it says you gain the top, 1 of the top 3 persuasion cards in the discard pile when you go there with a matching dress. I have 2 matching dresses and both of them are strong. So that's going to be good for me this round. Okay. Do I want to spend 1 of these persuasion to try to draw a wealth dress? Not really. I'm going to hold on to those. Okay. So step 1 is come here and visit with Bingley again. What is she going to do? She's going to try to he's going to try to completely compete with me. She's going to do the same thing. A head-to-head rivalry. Fun. Okay. let's see. I'm going to decide which dress I'm playing. I'm going to go big. I'm going to play my big one. It's a level 11 honor dress. Let's see if she can draw bigger than me. She can't. She didn't draw an honor dress at all. So she's going to go straight trait. She's got level 1 in honor. I've got 3 plus 11 is 14. So my big old dress definitely wins. So we're definitely going to come down here and say Bingley, and we're going to stick her with Wickham. That gives her an increase in charm, not the greatest for me, because it gets her closer to being marriage eligible. And she didn't wear a dress, so she just gains an endearment, and that's that. Okay, back here. For me, I go up in honor, so I'm at 4 honor for wearing a matching dress. And then I gain 1 in charm and 1 in wit, because I get both lines of Bingley again. So I get 1 endearment. I do get 1 dress, which is a nice value dress but it's in a trait type that doesn't really help me right now. And 1 persuasion. After winning a rivalry, gain 1 endearment. That'll come in handy. Okay. So that means Wickham was not visited. You may give an opponent 1 persuasion to draw 2 dresses. Ooh, sure. I'll do that. Here, have a persuasion. 2 dresses. Oof, that's brutal. I think I'll go ahead and keep the 3 because it'll give me some variety. And that means I'm discarding these 2. Okay. Still got my dress limit of 5, but I've got some more suit variety. I've got 5 out of 6 suits for dresses. So we're doing okay there. No honor still, though. So that means this is done. And she went and visited with whom? Pemberley. I think she went to Pemberley, didn't she? Who the heck did she visit? Oh, she didn't yet. I don't think. No, she did, because I resolved it already. I just completely forgot who she visited. Who did she visit? Wait. No. She visited with me. She came in, she was a rival. This is not supposed to be flipped over. That's what happened. Okay, back to here. These 2 are still in play. I want to come here to the other honor location, and I am still going to wear a dress. I'm going to wear my 10 dress to this location. And what is she going to do? She wants to go vigor, but can't, because there's no vigor location. Therefore, lowest of her lows is honor. So she's going to come try to compete with me again. Love that for me. Okay, so she's going to draw 4 and hope that she draws a honor. She does not. So she does not wear a dress. That means I definitely win. So I come to see Wickham. She gets nothing and likes it. Because I wore a matching dress and she did not, I go up in, oh, guess what, folks? I went up in honor, which lets me be at 5. So next round, Bingley, not next round, but next chapter, Bingley will be, I will be marriage eligible for Bingley. That's great. Okay. So I did that. You may gain 1 of the top 3 persuasion cards in the discard pile. Okay. That was because I wore a matching dress. So At the start of the chapter, replace one setting with a setting from the discard pile. That's the one that I want. Hands down, that's the one that I want. Okay. Because that's going to guarantee I'll be able to play the type of setting that I have the strongest dress in, thereby hopefully guaranteeing that I am the one to visit with Bingley next round. Okay, my dress goes away. For meeting with Crawford, get to go up in wealth. I get one dress. There's a level 1 wealth dress. Hey, at least it matches. So that's fine. I still have 5. I get 1 persuasion and 1 dress as well because I got the piqued interest stuff. So let me... Ooh, that's fun. Okay. We're going to discard this because it's lower than the one that I just got. All right. Okay, so Crawford sticks around. She comes back empty-handed. King's Gallery goes away. He stays on the board, and we both come to Pemberley. I don't care about any of them, so I'm not going to bother with the dress. I mean, I guess I could. You may discard up to 2 dresses and draw 1 dress for each dress discarded. No, I don't care. I'm not going to waste a dress on that. She will try, though. She will get green, purple, whatever the horse is. And she did get an honor, so she wore, not honor, a wealth. So she did wear a dress. She goes up in wealth. Again, she's at 9 wealth. She's still not eligible to marry, though, because she's got no other traits above or at 5 or higher. And so she gets the leftmost piqued interest. So she comes here, and I come here. So her vigor goes up 1, and so does her wit. Her wit is her second trait to now reach 5. So if I don't marry soon, she definitely will be. And she gets 1 endearment and 2 persuasion. Okay. So that makes Pemberley done. And all of these gentlemen were visited. Okay, so they're all staying. Go to town. And we add 1 and shuffle. This is our last round before the end game is triggered. Because unless I don't get my way somehow, between my persuasion cards, my strong dresses, and so on, I'm the one that's going to be visiting with Bingley, which means we're getting married. We'll see what happens. Okay, so there's Wickham. There's Howard. There's Bingley. Okay, we have Mariana Bertram. There's Crawford. And here is Mr. Collins. Okay. We have an abbey, we have exhibition room, and we have drawing room in charming, which is my lowest one. Okay, start of the chapter, move a character to another setting. That's who I'm going to play. So I'm going to move Bingley to the abbey. Do I have the strongest? No, not to the abbey. No. Not to the abbey. We're going to move to the exhibition room. I think that makes the most sense. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And then we're going to also play at the start of the chapter, replace 1 setting with a setting from the discard pile. So we're going to find, my highest value dress is in vigor. So we're going to find a vigor location from the discard pile. The first one is Carlton House. And let's see if I can find one that maybe gives me a slightly better benefit. No. Okay, well, These don't matter. So we're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to swap out the exhibition room for the Carlton House. Okay. Now, I am guaranteed to be able to play my 12-level dress in the Carlton House and have first dibs. And the Carlton House has 3 different people in it. So another opportunity for her to want to meet with someone other than the one that I want. I'm gunning for Mr. Charles Bingley here, because he's my betrothed. He just don't know it yet. We're in town, so that means we both get a persuasion. My persuasion says at the start of the chapter, move one character to another setting. Okay. Or at the start of the chapter, move one character to another setting. Okay, fine. By the way, her pile of persuasion is upsettingly large. I'm not going to bother spending persuasion on anything. My character that I want is here, and I've got it all set up the way I want it. So I'm absolutely just going to go straight to Carlton House and see what she wants to do. She's going to want to try to go to the drawing room. She's not going to compete with me. Okay. So I don't think it matters, but let's just resolve her first. Let's see if she can manage to get a charming dress from the draw. She does not, so she doesn't wear a dress. So that means she's going to come here and just collect one dress. And she does go up in honor. So she finally gets to 2 a little bit. All right, now the big one for me. I am definitely going to wear my level 12 dress. Not that it matters, it's just a statement at this point, which does match. So I can, if I want to, get persuasion. I don't think endgame, but persuasion probably does anything. Like, do I be able to convert anything into the game? Nope. Yeah, I mean, I do technically get more persuasion to break ties, but she breaks ties. So, because I'm playing the solo game, if I was playing in this multiplayer, I would definitely make this final trade to give an opponent a dress to draw two persuasion, because persuasion helps break ties. But because I'm playing solo, she always breaks ties. The AI always breaks ties. So, I don't need to bother with that. Instead, I'm just going to move on. I do go up 1 in that trait. I don't think it matters in this case, but it is what it is. And so I'm definitely going to come here and visit Mr. Bingley. Now, I've never done a marriage. This is the first time I've played this game, so let's read that. Okay, marrying a character. After you have interacted with a character, if you have a trait value of 5 or more in each of the 3 trait types that character prefers: charm, wit, and honor. Honor, wit, and charm. All of them are at 5 or higher. You may choose to marry that character. Since marrying a character happens after you have interacted with that character, it means the character can give you the trait points you needed to marry them on the same turn you interact with them. Speaking of which, I haven't resolved it, so let me just resolve it. I get 1 endearment, 1 dress, and 1 persuasion. And I go up in charm and I go up in dress because I'm wearing a matching dress. Okay, done. Take that character's card and place it next to your heroine's portrait. I'm going to definitely zoom in on that. So let's see. Player board type. There's me. Here comes Mr. Charles Bingley. Married couple. Okay. I courted Charles Bingley the entire game, and he has finally agreed to take my hand. Delightful. Then immediately gain 5 endearment, which puts me at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at 20. If you married the character listed on your heroine card, you additionally gain 2 more endearment. My heroine card says gain +2 if you marry Mr. Bingley. I have married Mr. Bingley, so now I am at 22 points. This also triggers the end of the game once the current chapter has been completed. Right. Okay, we've already resolved her. This round technically is not over. I'm here. That means these two gentlemen were not visited. It doesn't matter, but we'll do that. This location is gone. This location is gone. This comes back here. We both come here. It doesn't matter. I don't know why I would be courting anyone after I just asked for their hand in marriage, but here we are. Or they just asked me, rather, because I am a proper young lady. But here we are. So we'll go ahead. Is it end of the round or end of the chapter? At the end of any chapter. Okay. So I guess I will just socialize very politely. And I do have an honor dress, so I'll go ahead and use it. So I have a 9. Let's see what she's got. She does not have an honor dress. She just gained one, though. Let's see if she gains a higher one. She does not, so she's going to try to play that. I got her beat, though. I'm at 5, and she's at 2, and there's only a 1-point difference, so I definitely win that rivalry. Let me see. Do I have a win the rivalry one? I do, and I'm definitely going to play it. Persuasion. After winning a rivalry, gain 1 endearment, so that's 23. So I win, and that means I get my choice. Just to put a finer point on it, I think I'm going to go ahead and visit Maria Bertram first, which lets me go up in wealth, which gets it to 5 at the very last second. I get a persuasion and a dress. Okay. Cool. And I still have a hand limit, so we're good there. That leaves 1 endearment. I could have stolen that endearment from her, but I didn't care enough. I wanted to get that wealth up to 5 just at a point because she started with an advantage in wealth. So to me, it was just like a final little gotcha that I got to 5 wealth before the end. But she didn't get any extra benefits, especially extra persuasion. So we'll see. Okay, that's the end of that. So these come off. These technically stay because they were both visited. These characters come off. I don't think it matters at this stage because these guys are there. This is there. This is like a 3. Yeah. All right. So I'm at 23. She's at 12 before anything else. Let's see how this goes for the end of the solo game. End of the game. As in the 2 to 4 player game, once a player marries, the chapter will be played to completion and endgame scoring will proceed. Remember that your opponent will gain 1 endearment for every 4 persuasion cards they have at the end of the game. Okay. These are dresses, so that's not going to help her for now. Let's start with her then. She's at 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So she gets 5 extra points, putting her at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 17 points. And that means that I win because I'm at 22 to her 17 points. So again, I definitely won this game, but we also played it a little bit wrong for about the first third of the game. We weren't gaining extra trait benefits when we were visiting with characters, but neither one of us were. So we basically, both me and the AI started doing the right thing at the exact same time, and we're both losing things at the right same time. So like really, I think the game just went on longer than it otherwise should have. And maybe that meant that she would have earned additional points here and there, or been eligible to marry before me, maybe. So I guess there's a possibility I could have lost the game because of that, because she could have been able to be eligible to marry. But here's the thing. She would have had to first like become eligible. She would have had to get 3 traits of any kind over the 5 limit. And she was close, but she still had some work to do. And then she would have had to spend the calling card or correspondence And then I would have been trying to gun to try to beat her to the punch so she couldn't have gotten married before me, because I'm the human player, and that's what I would have done to try to save the game. So between that and her not trying to block me from getting married, because that actively happened. We played the game and she just went along her merry way. Unless there's a rule in there that she says she's trying to stop you. Maybe I just missed that, but no, it's all about whether or not she could get married. But there isn't anything in the rules here that talks about saying if you can get married to a character, then it tries to stop you from doing that. There's no rules that talk about that. So between her not trying to stop me and me actively trying to stop her, plus the fact that she still has some work to do at the end of this game, I don't think she would have been able to get there before me. If anything, it would have just taken another couple rounds. But it took an extra couple rounds anyway because I wasn't playing the rules right at the beginning. So I think it's a wash. I still think I probably would have won, especially with a point spread of as wide as this. It's another 6 points. So I'm pretty comfortable with that win, despite me getting the rules wrong at the beginning. What do I think of it? I'll start with the game and then I'll do some nitpicks, because I don't think the nitpicks should color my opinion. I think as a solo puzzle, it's an efficiency puzzle at its core. I absolutely love the art. The thematic integration works. It is a little bit weird to gain dresses from love interests. Like they're interested in you, so they give you dresses. That part of it's a little strange to me, like thematically. I understand that we're simplifying it down, right? But it's a little weird that the gentleman callers that I am spending time with, socializing with, are giving me dresses. All the time anyway. Maybe once in a while, maybe somebody might do that, but all the time, it just feels thematically off. Everything else about the game totally works. And I like it. I think it's fun. I think it does work where I especially like once I got the rule that I was missing, which was that getting the access to the extra abilities that a character gives you when you interact with them, when you're wearing the right dress at the right occasion. And they give you just those acts of visiting with them and getting those unlocks gives you additional trait increases as well. I missed that part. Once I got that though, the strategy, the extra level of strategy of saying, I could meet with them and those things would benefit me, but I really want this trait benefit over here. So this is a prime example. Let me bring these two down into frame. I could go here and get a wealth increase and an extra dress, which this one makes sense to give me a dress because, she's a woman and maybe she's like, hey, this dress would look good on you. You should take it, blah, blah, blah. Thematically, I can see where that would work. Him giving me a dress, skeezy, but whatever. I could come over here and get both of these things, and this would be great. I could come over here. He doesn't have a secondary benefit, but I might really, really, really need this honor buff that he grants. So it's worth it to me to give up on the extra stuff because this is the thing that gets me marriage eligible, right? That is that's the real crux of the game that really makes this thing special, because then you mix in this is a bad example. You mix in this, right? Let's say we were in the drawing room and I wore a dress that was perfect for a drawing room occasion. And now not only do I get a bump in charm for doing that, but I also get the access to the special ability. And then I get the access to the people. And then I can choose which one of these. So there's layer upon layer upon layer of strategy without it being super heavy and hard to understand. It actually flows really smoothly once you understand. And once you understand, I can understand why this game, especially if you add the AI player as a third player in a two-player game, would make this really, really sing at two players. I would be worried that if I play this at two-player without adding the simulated third player, that there wouldn't be enough chaos introduced by the third player and it would start to feel, even though there's good interaction at 2 players built into the core game, it would start to feel very binary. You go there, I go here. You come rival me, I win the rivalry. Then we both go over there. Back, forth, back, forth. You kind of felt that at the end as I was kind of chewing through the game. That I feel like would happen in a 2-player game. And in fact, I feel like it happens here. I feel like because I only have one opponent, that it's very deterministic what's likely going to happen here. Either you're going to get the dress and therefore follow me, and we're going to have a rivalry. You're going to draw the right card, and then that's going to tell you that you're going to come be rivals with me, and then we're going to win a rivalry, and then we're going to have 2 places left to go. Or you're going to go somewhere else, and we'll both go to the 3rd place. That became very deterministic in a 2-player game. But with a 3rd player, that would not feel that way. You wouldn't be guaranteed to have a 2nd spot to go to. And that in and of itself would add a lot of uncertainty to the strategy that you're developing in your head. So I feel like, with the caveat that I really feel like the AI player is a necessity in the 2-player game to really give you that 3rd angle of chaos and disruption, to really make it tense. I feel like this game is a success. I love the art, the thematic integration, except for the whole guys giving the girls dresses thing. Really works. They thought about the whole grinding for the right person thing. So by giving you, well, we'll come in a bit closer. By giving you the whole calling card and correspondence options here, you have the capability of diving for the person that you need, whether they came out already or not. As you noticed, I kept visiting Bingley the entire game so that I would keep... What did you say? Blank screen, that's no good. Thank you. I kept visiting Bingley the entire game so that I would ensure that he stays active as the characters on the list every single chapter. So I didn't have to spend persuasion on calling cards and correspondence to go digging for him later. And he benefited me because the stuff he unlocks, the extra traits that I gained from visiting with him, actually helped make me more marriage eligible for marrying him. So the game keeping the characters you visit in the lineup and not making them all get discarded and brand new people coming out every single time, also a brilliant piece of engineering for this game. So on the whole, I think I'm at a big solid like B plus, A minus for this. B plus probably because that simulated 3rd player is a necessity at 2 players. But the art treatment, oh, I did screw up. I was supposed to be drawing plot cards. Plot cards were supposed to be coming out each and every chapter. And so let's take a look at a couple of these. Each player gains 1 endearment if they do not play address this chapter. Ooh. In turn order, each player may discard any number of persuasion cards and draw that many persuasion cards. Huh. So, okay, these are nice. They add a little color, little crunch. They don't seem to be disruptive, at least the 3 that I've seen. There's a lot of maze and cans. Any player who has more than 3 of this trait at the end of the chapter draws 1 persuasion. So there's things like that that would have added extra color. So the plot isn't, those plot cards, while I missed them and didn't do them the entire game, that's a mistake on my part, I don't think that meaningfully changes much. And I do think that for the game, that's only going to benefit you. Adding plot cards here, I can understand why they did that. It adds extra flexibility. It adds extra, you know, a little something little bit variability from round to round. That's nice. But on the whole, it's not like it's like do or die, life or death that I didn't do the plot cards. So honestly, I think this is great. As in terms of LaFleur and Botany and their other products that Duxomnium Games have put out, I feel like Endearment holds its own next to them. Endearment, especially in Endearment and LaFleur, for me, both work well. But here's where my nitpicks are. And this is nitpicking, I think that'll sound familiar to people who are familiar with their games. People talk about them not play testing their games enough, and I don't think I quite prescribe to that. This has clearly been play tested quite a lot. I don't understand that criticism, at least in this game. People saying they don't have enough persuasion, I never had that problem. That was one of the things I also heard, that people were saying they didn't have enough persuasion. I think it was meant to be prescriptive. Having persuasion and you choosing when to use it and being careful with your choices on when to use it, and then taking advantage of locations benefits that grant you persuasion and people that you visit granting you persuasion. All of those things are ways to just get more and more persuasion throughout the game. I had no issue with getting persuasion. Did I feel like I was drowning in persuasion? Not really. There was one case where I think I had four or five persuasion, but I was generally trying to spend persuasion most of the time. I was trying to make sure that if I had more than two, I would spend at least one. I tried to keep two persuasion around at any given time, and other than that, if I got more than that, I would more freely spend it on dresses. I didn't really invite more people. I just let the characters come out as they were. And maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know. But that actually worked out okay. So what was the other criticism? Oh, right. Yes. So player aids, right? This is the player aid for this game. This is a town actions player aid. There's a playing a chapter player aid. There's not nearly enough information on that one little card. So they also give you a quick start guide with some playing the game stuff. Really cool. Gives you some kind of rules at a glance. So that works. But on none of those materials did I find this chart right here. Very simply, what are the damn names of the traits? I had to keep this page open on the side as much as I could just to remember what these 6 things were called. The entire game, and the entire game hinges on these 6 symbols. Now, does it matter that it's a green one, blue one, whatever? No, but I don't want to feel like it's an abstraction. I want to feel like it's thematically integrated. And if I could just glance over and do that and look at them, then I won't feel like I'm being removed from the game. I will feel immersed in the game. If I can just look at them and go. Put them on the back of the rule book. For the last time, publishers of all people, not just Duck Somnium Games, but everybody, but Duck Somnium included, put the legend on the back of the book. This thing right here is lovely. It's great art. It's unnecessary for the back of the rule book. Put your credits and your thank yous and your notes from the designer, sure, but give me an iconography legend on the back of the rule book. For the last time, hear me on this. It's just aggravating. So the one criticism that I do think Duck Somnium Games gets that they deserve is their rule books. This is great. It's well laid out, but I don't have an anatomy of a turn in a very concise step guide. I have player aids that kind of do it. The quick start guide kind of does it, but I need something that is like straight bullet points, as few words as possible, step by step. The start of a chapter, do this. End of a chapter, do this. Repeat. And have it be just at a glance, easy to read. So it sounds like such a minor thing when the game is well tuned, and this one is well tuned. But when I'm first learning a game and everything is thematic, and I'm trying to understand how the flow of a turn is supposed to go, the last thing I want to do is wade through 6 pages of a rule book to get through the long form of that information. Let me get the structure, the skeleton of a turn and the skeleton of a round, and put that somewhere I can get to. If not the back of the book because you're using that as an iconography legend like you should be, then at least give me something akin to this that gives me that structure, or a larger, and you already have large cards for the character. These are the character cards. You barely got a chance to see them in this playthrough. But these are already large cards. You also have large postcard size cards that you're already printing. Print another one of these per player that gives you that that framework of a turn and a round on one side, and an iconography legend on the other side, so that every player has that and can look at that. That is such an easy thing for any publisher to do, that it, to me, and I will continue to rail on this, it is completely inexcusable when a publisher doesn't do that anymore. Go do that. So that's the reason why it's a B+ and not an A- for me on Endearment, which is silly because it's an otherwise charming game that I am happy to own, and it will not leave my collection despite the shortcomings that I've been bitching about. So I'll get off my high horse. That's enough from me. This has been Endearment. I am very, very pleased with this one. I love the art. I love the thematic integration. I think the game plays very, very well, if not just a little abstract. But I think that's okay in this thing. I don't want it to be some deeply crunchy, heavy game. A 2.6, I think, is about right on BGG for the complexity scale on this, and I'm happy that it's that way. It is the right blend of theme and abstract mechanics, for me, anyway. And I hope you've enjoyed the run through for what it was today. This has been Endearment. I have been your host, Shub, and tune in next week for something completely different. All right, take care, everybody.